All right, sleepers. Welcome to another Visual Gamer video. This time we're talking about patch 1.2.4 of Dune Awakening. I've had some time now to sit down and actually be able to read the patch notes. So let's dive right in to this patch. It came in at around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I had to go to work, but I'm back to read the patch notes. So let's dive right in, shall we? Okay, so reading sleepers. So that marks the release of 1.2.40, which introduces exciting new features and long requested community character transfer. So we can now transfer character, inventory, backed up bases, and vehicles and bank contests, including your Solari, to a new siege and world. You can start a transfer process via the server browser or in the game system menu. You will need a transfer token to initiate a transfer. You start with one, which replenishes automatically 7 days after you use it. However, before doing so, you should prepare. So let's talk about preparing. Make sure that you back up your base using the base reconstruction tool. Also remember that you can store up to 3 bases in the tool. That's right, all 3 bases. Nice. Similarly, back up your vehicle with the vehicle backup tool. For larger vehicles that don't fit in the vehicle backup tool, you can dismantle them with a welding torch and store the parts in your bank or base storage. That's very important right there. Make sure you get your vehicles and including your cargo hold. Make sure you put them in a actual storage container. If you exceeded the limit, you could also dismantle any extra vehicles in your fleet and store their parts. You can do that as well. Yes, that's fine. Make sure to store any other valuables in your inventory and bank, as their contents will be transferred alongside witches, so the bank will also go too. And finally, ensure that your character is in the Hagen Basin before initiating a transfer. You won't be able to start a process if your character isn't on this map. So if you're in a deep desert or any of the other maps, you can't do it. So make sure you're in the Hagen Basin. Once you initiate your character transfer, follow the on-screen instructions and prepare to meet your new friends and foes in your chosen siege and world, which should be, that's right, North America Cities, Siege Cathedral. That's where I'm at. Remember, we're still working on server migrations, which will be included in future patch at some point after the release of Chapter 3. So after the Chapter 3 release, which everybody was saying, hey, there was a rumor mill that this update was coming on this Tuesday. The other one is maybe the next Tuesday or even 2 weeks after this one. We'll see. So yeah, let's do some highlights as well. Features and changes. Yeah, we already talked about that. Let's see, is there anything else? No, here's a couple little tidbits on there. If the character's name is taken on the target server, the player will be prompted to enter a new name. A loader screen is to play during the transfer. The player cannot exit until complete. Upon completion, the player is informed that they can now join the new server. The transfer character will spawn in Griffin's Reach in the Haga Basin. Each player has 1 transfer token published every 7 days. Okay, resource building and crafting. You now need to input some text as prompt to confirm or get a backed up base in the base reconstruction tool to prevent accidental deletions. That happened to Nerdbird, so I'm glad they added that into it. User interface, change place blueprint and forget blueprint in the base reconstruction tool UI to place base backup and destroy. Again, I think Nerdbird actually initiated that. Swap the locations of destroy base backup UI to snap to origin. Okay, that's fixes. So with the fix an issue where when canceling large crafting queues, some of the resources could be dropped on the floor even though there was sufficient space elsewhere in the inventory circuit. Yep, happens to be all the time. Fix an issue with the sandstorm damage mitigation of carrier cargo containers, causing them to be destroyed very quickly. Yes, big problem. I'm glad they did that. The container should not be much more resistant to sandstorm. Fix not being able to place bases with the base position tool too close to no building stones. Okay. Fix not being able to place bases with the base position tool when there's a blocking volume too close to vertically to the land plane. Vehicle fix an issue where harness vehicles will sometimes fail to appear when traveling back to Haga Basin using the Omnithopper transporter. And they fix a typo in the holographic room sign. So that's it right here on it. Obviously, the number one thing about this whole thing is a server transfers is huge. Hopefully, we're looking at actually chapter 3 maybe next week. I'm thinking 2 weeks from now. So let's get ready. Siege Cathedral. in in my server. Guys, I've been saying it over and over again, guys. You need to come on. Let's join up. Now it's the time. I'm gonna be live all the time. I got my base to welcome new people. Let's all group up and let's have fun and let's actually get ready for chapter 3. Hope you have the woo one. I'll see you in the next one.